Hello, welcome to episode 4 of Country Living with Mock. Chaucer and I are delighted to have you back at the little castle here in Wales. And today we're going to be covering our brassicas in the vegetable patch. Madam. We're going to be laying up an insect hotel over on the turret lawn, and we're going on a road trip. Yes, we're going to see the Faringdon Folly, which is built by one of my heroes, Lord Berners, for his partner, Robert Heber-Percy. So a bit of gardening, a bit of travelling. I mean, it's the meaning of life, really, isn't it? So buckle up, put your seatbelts on, and let's go to Oxfordshire. I'll see you back at the end. I've stopped in the local market town of Faringdon because this is where Lord Berners lets his play come to life. He planted lots of different signs around the village, some of which are legible, some of which are not. And they show his sense of humour, and I want to try and find a few and share them with you. So I set off on my mission in the beautiful Oxfordshire town of Faringdon. But it wasn't as easy as it looked. I kept looking around the town, and after a coffee or two, I nearly gave up. But I knew the signs were there. I need to get better at my foraging skills, but I have found one sign, one of many. I'll just have to come back. And there it was, iron fangled. So it is the words or letters of Faringdon all jumbled up. And he did that on all the signs. He took the letters of Faringdon and made new words from them. I'm getting better at this. I have just found another. Come and have a look. This one was pretty low down, almost at street level. I rang fond. So having found 2 signs, I walked through the marketplace and set up towards the Folly. I found another one. I have to say, my heart skipped a beat at this. This is one of the most famous signs there is. Looking for a sign, this is it. And for me, that absolutely summed up Lord Berners. This place was absolutely magical. Hidden gems around every single corner. And I think, judging from the sign outside the local pub, beer is the answer. And I can't remember the question. Lord Faringdon's humour still lives. I'm getting... But it was time to leave central Faringdon and head up towards the Folly. Up the hill we went. This feels like the absolute quintessential English village. Absolutely beautiful. A higgledy-piggledy of houses, all beautifully kept. So the Folly itself is quite far out of town, and I was definitely getting my steps in as I turned the corner and started to head up through the hill. You can hear I'm a little bit out of breath, and there, in the distance, magnificently, my first sight of the Folly, like a castle in Narnia. I was so excited. Entrance to the Folly. It's not open every single Sunday of the year. It's 100 foot high with 154 steps, and I did feel a little bit like that as I made my way midway to the top and started to get an understanding of the stunning views of the surrounding countryside. This is where Faringdon's finest would come for cocktails with Lord Berners and his partner, Robert Heber-Percy. But I wasn't going to hang around on the midway point. I wanted to go to the roof and take it all in. A rather scary staircase, and then finally I made it to the summit. I think you can see on my face as I stood beneath the flagpole, I was a little bit overcome with emotion. I have read about this place for years. and it really was a life moment to be standing on the top of Faringdon's Folly. And I think this is my favourite bit. As I leaned over, the shadow of the folly beneath was spectacular. What goes up must come down, and that's the same with me, down 154 flights of stairs. For me, that was honestly a life moment, seeing something built by one of my heroes for his boyfriend. Absolutely incredible. I'm blown away. Never speechless, but certainly reflective. Imagine leaving something like that behind for future generations. And then my time at Faringdon had come to an end. It was time to leave Oxfordshire and go back to Wales to my little baby castle. But before I did, I went to the gates of Faringdon House to pay a little bit of homage to Lord Berners, and I popped next door to the church and lit a candle for my favourite historical character. Oh, hello. I'm taking a little bit of a break. It's been quite hard work in the garden today. I've been planting, I've been weeding, and now I'm just taking a cheeky break. I'm leaning against the back of the stables. Oh, maybe I'm not. And I am going to start on the veg garden. What I need to do is I need to cover my brassicas now to protect them from being eaten by the birds, so I'll be doing that, and I've collected some sticks over winter, so I'll be using that to make sure that the netting doesn't push too hard down on my broccoli, so it can continue growing but protected from all of those little birds and the bats who live in the stables behind me. And then I've got to cover my potatoes because they've started sprouting up. I want to cover them so they can stay in darkness and get lovely and rich and gorgeous, and I can have them later on in the summer and into early autumn. So just a 5-minute break for me, and then I start again on the vegetable patch. Well, that break actually extended a bit longer than I had thought. I'm often so busy in the garden that I forget to enjoy it. So I decided to have a little walk through the paddock and admire the Wisteria walkway. This was put in many years before I moved to the baby castle, and it's one of the highlights of the year for me. Every June, this beautiful walkway springs into life. I've added a couple of hostas over the last few years, and here they are coming back with some perfectly pruned topiary. The colour and the scent of this wisteria is absolutely magnificent. I simply love sitting by it in the evening with a nice cup of tea and after a day in the garden to enjoy the scent of the blossom. Look at how old it must be. Lots of branches, lots of interweaving branches. And there, my favourite view, a little view out to the turret. So my time for a break came to an end, and it was back to the vegetable patch. Whilst we often feed the birds or even the flowers in our garden, we sometimes forget that there are other creatures that need our help. So here today I have bought myself an insect hotel. I'm very excited to install it. So here it is, against this wall. It's full of ivy. It's a bit of the garden that I really need to get a handle on in the next couple of years, but for now this patch is a perfect home for creepy crawlies, but we shouldn't call them that. They're the insects that are part of the circle of life and really important for the food chain, and I want to protect the little darlings with this. So I'm going to pop it down here. Yeah, little entrance with some ivy, and let's see what happens. Maybe I'll have a little insect colony, who knows? Anyway, all are welcome in this garden. It's the most inclusive garden in Wales. And now my final job of the night is to make sure that I feed my birds. I have these adorable little bird feeders. I think they're absolutely beautiful. And so I've got them dotted around the garden to make sure, even in summer, our birds need feed. And I've got some robins over there who always come out and say hello. And actually in the little box on the big tree, I have a pair of yellow tits, and I'm very excited. I see them coming in and out, and maybe I'll get some babies soon. But for now, I want to make sure they're all well fed. We all know it's important to feed the birds during the winter and the autumn. I didn't realise it was still important to feed them during the summer, or at least I do. Whenever I put the feed down, the birds swarm around, so I am sure that they appreciate a little meal hanging up in the garden. And there you have it. Fine dining for the birds and a little bit of safety in the insect hotel. My corner of nature in my corner of Wales. Well, thank you for joining us here on Country Living with Mock. I hope you enjoyed my time in the garden, the vegetable patch, and the trip to Faringdon Folly. I'd love to know, is there somewhere you've always wanted to visit but you haven't quite made it yet? Or that you visited and absolutely lived up to your expectations? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for all of the love that you write in the comments and the DMs you send to Chaucer and me, mainly to Chaucer. We really appreciate them. And remember, if you want to see more of Country Living with Mock, make sure you hit that subscribe. But until next time, take care. Lots of love from the little castle in Wales. We'll see you soon.